Hey guys, a couple of days of not shaving, busy family schedule, that kind of thing. I'm back and I'm doing the same stuff I did yesterday. I didn't video my shave yesterday, but man, it was good. And so I'm glad to bring this stuff to you to show you. Um, what was great was the experience with the razor. Now I do have a different blade today, Gillette Platinum, just to try out something different. Yesterday I used the Astra, the inked Astra blade, and man, whew, it was such a great combination with this Pearl Flexi. This is the 7th generation. The other one I have is the 5th generation, and I used it recently, and I put a workaround video about how to get that blade aligned properly. Very easy. I wouldn't have a problem owning that 5th generation, but I tell you what, the 7th is, they changed something about the geometry just a hair, because wow, this thing is so smooth. I shaved with it at a 3 setting, and it took down 2.5 days of growth easily. And then that same 3 setting felt wonderfully smooth, even at the 3rd pass when everything was pretty much gone. Smooth feel, almost. I mean, it's one of those where if you like blade feel, it's the 3 setting is not going to be your cup of tea because it's so smooth. I can't wait to play around more with other settings like 2. I mean, 1 may be so mild you don't even use it, but even if I don't use anything else, this razor is worth the price for just that 3 setting, for that experience I had with the Astra, and we'll see what we get today with a slightly different blade. These other 2 things are also what I used. I'm interested in kind of tracking the feel of the P10. This is a Zenith Silvertip, and you know what I just discovered this weekend? That the Gentle Shave is a website that the guy started in America, and he's the importer of the Zenith brushes that come from Italy, and he actually has assigned them different item numbers. Like this is the P10, and that's the Gentle Shave code for this brush. That same brush actually has a different code in the Zenith world, in the real world over there in Italy. And so when I'm talking about the P10, that's only in reference to American people who buy their Zeniths from the Gentle Shave, right? I'm going to have to go through my other Zenith brushes, including the boars that I have, and I think I have a Manchurian. I'm going to have to go through those other ones and find the real Zenith codes to put those in. I thought the P10 and the B2, the B10, those are some boar brushes that I have, B23. I thought those were the real Zenith codes, but they're not. So that's interesting. I didn't know that. And there is on the Gentle Shave website a cross-reference chart to make it very easy to find what's what. And that's actually another way, a good way to compare all the Zenith brushes, because that chart will show you the diameter of the knot, the loft, that sort of thing. And so if you want to look through their inventory and find options for a certain size knot, then that might be a great way to do it. And this lather gave me such a wonderful experience yesterday. This is their beef tallow. One of their claims is 100% natural ingredients. And this wonderful symbol down here is the Chatillon Lux symbol. And so Shawn is the one who put together the scent profile for this here soap from Sudsy Soapery. And this is next on the list of products, because this is a nice scent. Don't get me wrong. Rose and lemon. I can see why it was created. It's artfully done by Shawn. I'll read more about the scent in a little while. And but this soap base, I had a great shave with it yesterday. Really slick, creamy, luxury, all those good words that you want to have spoken about your soap base are in this guy. All right, so we'll put him down here, load him up. The Silvertip didn't quite give me as good of a feel as the one from Zenith here, as the one from Golden Nib, the premium. And so I'm on the lookout using this brush again for the kind of comparison in my mind again. All right, I did a 30-second load the other day, yesterday with this soap, and it gave me plenty of lather. So how about we just take it down to 25? Also, this has probably got some residual moisture. Probably could take it down to 20, but we'll just do 25. Shake a lot of the water out of my brush, keep things kind of uniform, easier for you guys to reproduce as well. That way it takes away a little bit of the amount of water that the brush can hold in it, because if you're using a different size brush, then that can very much change the stats of the shave. But if I shake out a lot of the water, then that makes it a little easier for you guys to be able to match it if somebody's having trouble with this soap base or something like that. All right, I pressed it down. It kind of came flush, but then you could look through the container here and see the empty spaces, and so that's what I do with Sudsy Soapery. I just shove all of this stuff down. All right, so let's do 25-second load, and the 0 rolled around right there, so we'll just go right at it. Make it easy to stop at the right point. They do have a vegan base, and I think the beef tallow here performs a lot better. Almost done. And there we go. 25-second load. That's what it looks like. So, a little citrus, a little rose, and it's a Chypre, and that does have certain elements to be called a Chypre. Labdanum, I think, is also in the mix there because of the Chypre type. But then he makes a couple of twists that help it to stand out, be a little different, be a little interesting. The rose is not an element that has to take it to a feminine place. If you watch my channel, you know I don't really go for the florals at all. But rose often can offer a sweet type nature to a thing. And now it's definitely a rose, don't get me wrong. And so if you don't like rose, then don't get it. However, the citrus and the oak moss and some of the other elements that are a part of this change it into, to me, more of a unisex, not super masculine, but not really a feminine scent either. Where this soap really jumped out and became a part of my collection was I bought it to get free shipping because I was buying another soap from the Sudsy Soapery. And I ended up kind of getting it for just a few dollars, right? And it was a soap that was very good to use in the lather games. Not really this year, 2021, but in previous years, on the day that it was all Chatillon Lux kind of fiasco, because you needed to use a Chatillon Lux soap on one day of the month. However, to get that point, it couldn't be on a day that you also used a Declaration soap or a like Noble Otter and Southern Witchcrafts and some of those others. And the trouble is that Shawn has collaborated with all those guys, and so what you had to do was find a soap where Shawn was the collaborator on, but it didn't also have their own vendor day. And so that's where Sudsy Soapery came in, because it was one of the few options that you could choose from. Well, thankfully in 2021 they realized that kind of locked people down a little bit too much, so they changed the ruling on that, and I think that's a good choice. You want to have freedom to play around during the lather games, and if everybody has to use a certain soap to get maximum points, then that anyway. So to describe this soap from Shawn, he says the traditional Chypre fragrance features an unexpected twist. The notes of lemon, ruby red grapefruit, natural rose essential oil, labdanum, and oak moss from the Chypre structure. Yes, but a note of Nepalese, right, I'm sorry, the text is so small it's hard for me to see. Nepalese palmarosa provide a bridge between the green oak moss notes and the citrus top notes. Additionally, a dash of zesty ginger root shavings is what he says, add a zesty undertone to the citrus to add a new twist to the traditional scent structure. Now, in my first use of this a few months ago, I made a note. I did not get as much of the notes of the citrus parts. Maybe those top notes all left the building during the warm summer mail route as it came to me. And that may have been kind of part of a joke, but probably not. And yeah, I'm actually getting the lemon, but the rose is more dominant. We'll see how it changes during the shave. And you know what? I smelled my brush, this Badger brush, as we start working this thing together. I smelled it today right before the shave, and it had the scent left over from the previous day. And you know what? I was able to pick up that ginger. How about that? That was mentioned in the description by Shawn. So just by using the wetness that's in the brush, this is kind of what we're able to get. This is not really a finicky soap in terms of watering it a certain rate, you know, that sort of thing. I think maybe my nose is coming back up after having COVID. I think maybe I'm smelling at about maybe 60%. So I think we're getting better and better. The notes from this lather here are definitely meeting me, meeting my nose. I'm getting the light citrus, but then that rose scent. And then a little bit of the greenery there. That definitely helps the rose not to be too feminine. Always cracked me up when I looked at certain masculine, certain shaving soaps that are obviously meant for men, like MDC, that doesn't have too many choices, you know. And one of them is rose. Really? You look at Thayer's Witch Hazel, the toner there. One of those scents is rose, and there's a whole bunch of other kind of feminine type scents there. Maybe not as feminine as rose. Now I can see kind of lavender a little bit. It has some relaxing qualities, and it's not nearly as flowery as rose is. But I mean, really? I mean, because you go to Walmart and you look in the men's cologne or smell good department, you're not going to find any rose in there. It's not going to be there. So I actually posed that as a question a few years ago online, and man, you would have thought I was killing people's dogs. They responded back, "What's wrong with rose? I like the smell of roses." Well, I like the smell of roses too, but I don't want to smell like one. And that still doesn't answer my question. You know, I was asking why. You know, why are there some scented products that don't have too many options, but rose is one of them for a male shaving scent, for shaving soap, you know? Why does that even happen? And there were a few guys, doesn't that look awesome? There are a few guys who responded back with something constructive instead of being offended, and I appreciated what they were doing. I forgot to put the blade in the razor. And one perspective I thought was pretty relevant. He said that in this hobby, certain companies especially are linked to the traditions of the hobby. And decades and decades ago, men's shaving soap, you didn't really have leather scents nearly as much. That was almost thought of as being poor, being a member of the working class instead of somebody kind of wealthy. And so in the premium shaving products, then they would feature those scents that were more exclusive and elitist. And so then therefore that became our shaving lineage, our shaving history. And so now it's just a holdover from those that some of these traditional companies are still offering these type of scents. And then of course, I mean, sure, there are some guys who legitimately want to smell like a rose. I think, I may not want to at all, but I would almost think that it's a pretty small minority of guys who want to smell like a rose and who also are involved in our shaving hobby. And so that's still a little bit of a puzzler for me. But maybe that's all it is, perhaps. Because, those old shaving mugs, the ones that you might see on eBay where it's got, it looks like a tiny pitcher, but on the top part, it's got a little cup with drain holes that you put the soap in, and on the bottom part, it has the pitcher. And I think that's the a device that people would use, kind of like what I've got here with my basin and stuff, to shave. And that water that they would put in the little bottom of the pitcher there would be, and I think it's a shaving mug technically, but I'm calling it a pitcher because it really might bring to your mind a better image of what it is, a small pitcher. And so you dip your brush, maybe soak your brush in that water underneath the soap, and the soap had holes in it, and it was a small cup, and so it wasn't big enough for you to actually build a lather in. However, I think what it offered was a place to put your soap, and then any excess moisture would drip down into that container, into the thing at the bottom. Man, got tons of lather here. I told you 25 might be too much, and sure enough, I think I was right. I mean, look at that, and it's gorgeous too. Look how flowy and creamy it is. Let's just use it, and if I have to, no, this one is one actually that can handle a good bit of water. I have already added 22 milliliters of water. So let's add a little bit more. Big, easy splay on this brush. This has that dumb design, and of course I'm just expressing my opinion here. See those two little ridges in the saddle of the brush handle right there? They're so annoying. For me as a bowl latherer, that may not bother you face latherers. Maybe you hold the brush in a different way. Maybe you construction workers with big, thick fingers and tough skin, maybe you don't even feel that. I mean, it looks nice, but it really kind of annoys me. On my bore that has this same plastic handle, I got my Dremel out, dug those suckers down. They're gone, and it's a really nice, comfy, ergonomic handle. Doesn't look good. All right, so let's show you the lather here. That's nice looking. And see, look, it's got some weight to it. The way it's kind of coming down and moving on its own there. And yet, look, it's still got a little bit of structure to be able to hold itself up like that. So it's not fully elastic and heavy. I may still find myself adding some water to that. Get my face wet again. You know what's shaving foreshadowing? When I took what was around the overflow of the jar here, and I put that on my face, and then my fingers had the leftovers, and I rinsed it away in my little bowl there, and I felt that slickness. It was telling me what was coming for my face, and I was looking forward to that big time. It was so nice, so slick. So Gillette Platinum. Now this is not quite like my Gillette Silver Blue or the inked Astra Superior Platinum, in that those other two are marvelous Swiss Army knife blades that just work so well in so many things. This one definitely has its favorite razors, and sometimes it doesn't work all that great in a razor, but when it does, ooh, it's a sweet thing. It is. So I'm looking forward to trying it out. One neat thing they did to change is that with the knob here, they had a little bit more play last time. And so when you put the top cap on with the blade in, you could spin the knob and it wouldn't engage. You actually had to hold the top cap down and engage it just a little bit. I mean, it wasn't a big deal, but it sure is nicer the way it was just now, where I did not have to make sure the top cap was there. I just started spinning the knob and it engaged. All right, I'm gonna keep it on 3, just for grins. We'll keep that same setting. Oh, it was so smooth. I wonder if they lowered the gap or something. Oh man, that felt great the other day, and so I'm expecting good things today. All right, let's get that lather up in my face. Looks great. My mirror is misaligned over here. I need to be able to see the goods. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to add a little bit of water. Yeah, you can see the lather kind of building up around the brush, the sides of the brush. Get rid of it and add just a little bit of water to the brush here. Keep it from rolling out of the handle, so I'll tilt my head over. This brush is feeling better today than it did yesterday. I hadn't used it in a while. I wonder if maybe even some Badger brushes kind of feel different once you've left them alone for a while, and then they kind of get back into their stride if you use them consecutively, almost like a soap can, you know? If anybody has experience with that, why don't you chime in? Now this one has very easy splay. In a way, I kind of have to be careful about pressing too much, because it will just kind of bend over, and because of that, I definitely think there are going to be some people online that talk about it as being a floppy brush. It might be just a little more floppy than I might personally like, but I still am enjoying it. And see, yeah, we could add some water to this lather even still. Matter of fact, let's do that just a touch. This little method here is not great at adding a few drops of water, but in all other aspects of tracking water and adding water, it beats the syringe that I used to use for a while. Little medicine syringe for, for kids' liquid medicine. Those of you who've watched me for quite a while will definitely remember that. Yeah, this lather feels great. Nice plush brush here. Right, and yeah, I do need to add some water to that bowl, because I added water twice to the brush, which means the stuff in the bowl is even is more concentrated. So let's add a bit. We'll mix it around in just a minute. All right, old Flexi. My version 5 had that kind of alignment issue where it was possible for you to drop the blade in and screw everything together and have it kind of not align right. I figured out a workaround. I put out a separate video on that so that anybody with that version 5, it was easy and intuitive to do. It just took a second to line everything up properly as you screwed it in, as you locked everything down, and then you're good from there, right? Well, it doesn't seem like I need to worry about that with the version 7, and let's just see what kind of feel we get here. I mean, that is just, again, mowing through that hair. I barely get a sensation that it's having a problem at all, that it's even, cutting hair. You almost have to pay extra attention. Now, what does that mean? Does that mean that 6 setting is not really going to be that aggressive? Well, for me, I don't mind that because I like this zone right here. So just a little bit more aggressive than what I'm feeling right now, just a little smoother than what I'm feeling right now. That's like my perfect little zone. And so because of this smoothness, and it is smoother than the Gillette adjustables of great historical importance, those are, and this guy is even smoother than those. To me, it really puts him kind of at the top of the adjustable market. Just breeze through, wonderful glide here. And the lather is just, I was even able to go against the grain on the third pass, which is something I can only do with the smoothest and the smoothest of razors, and that's after they have given me a wonderful close shave in the previous passes. But did not have a problem with that. And this is a creamy, rich, decadent lather here. A little rinse going on. And that lather gives me the kind of feel that I want during my rinse. That luxury, just the cleanness and the slickness, creamy feel to it, texture there. That's what I want to feel. It's definitely a high performance lather that I can feed plenty of water into. And this is their tallow base. I might have to look at my other soaps. I don't know if I'm going to keep this soap around. I may, but I want to make sure that I have their tallow base in a scent that I really gravitate towards, because this is really a tremendous soap base. I just wouldn't mind shaving this with this every day. I really wouldn't. Let's just check out finger feel while we're fawning all over it here. A little bit of resistance to squeezing. It's not a thick kind of creamy, but it's kind of a thin layer as you kind of work your way through the lather here. It's a thin layer of slickness that's kind of laid down on your fingers. And then obviously, if you wanted the thicker, more luxurious, creamy kind of feel, you could just back off of the water a little bit. But and so it not quite as good as some in terms of the finger feel, but man, with the razor moving the way it is, and the feel of the brush on the face, it's top notch in terms of those types of feels. All right, I think we've gotten it kind of homogenized here. Got that water that I added mixed in. Yeah, nice soft tips. Yesterday they were feeling a little kind of ropey, but they're not that way today. Very nice, comfy tips, you know, luxurious and soft. It's a nice feel here. I think I'm going to rehome this knot onto a nicer handle. Be fun to break apart this plastic handle with my Dremel and see what's underneath. See how the knot, the base of the knot there, the knot plug, the glue plug and stuff. See how it looks on a Zenith knot. I haven't done that with the Zenith yet. I'm going to continue using the 3 setting cross grain now. And I don't think this lather needs to have any more water in it. Might have been better to, I probably pushed it. Probably should have dried my face with the fact that I added water. Just easy glide here. And this is when you have to work on your angles, because the exposure here is not all that much with the razor blade. And so it's a great time to make sure that your angles are good. Just kind of keep hitting certain areas until you feel that blade edge cutting. You hear it cutting. You may not feel the edge moving across the skin, but if you can feel your hairs being kind of cut or kind of intercepted or moved in that blade kind of way, then now you know your angles is right. So yeah, we'll have to. Now that I've duplicated the same shave with 2 different blades, man, that 3 setting is just so smooth. I would worry about guys who like more aggressive shaves buying this razor. But so what we'll do is we will start moving up the scale here, and we'll see what those higher numbers give us in terms of feel. Now, but here's the thing. I don't need it to be more aggressive, because the cut that I'm getting is super close. So it's kind of like the Fetips in the way that they like to be very comfortable while they shave you efficiently. At least that's been my experience with them. I did dry off my face with a towel before putting this lather on, so it might behave a little better. Yeah. And I'm doing this not because I need to, because at this point you can just lay it on. You don't have to work it in. But I just enjoy the feel of the brush and the lather on my face. Man, my face feels great between the passes. Really nice. All right, cross grain again. Really quick movement. I didn't pick up any stealth irritation. You know, sometimes you can get razors that kind of feel good, but then they cut so closely that you end up with a little gradual buildup of irritation by the end of the shave. Now, in some areas of my neck here, I am just not able to feel the blade. You know why that is? Because it's done such a great job of cutting already that there's just not any hair to provide any resistance. And can't argue with that. How does everything feel? Oh yeah, it's got a nice kind of buttery feel to this lather. Nourishing to the skin, you know, that sort of thing. But it's not slow and oily like some of the modern soap bases are as they're trying to give you good skin moisturization during your shave. And I can even just very easily do kind of an against the grain stroke right there, thanks to this razor, and this blade is doing very well in it. So I'll have to see what we get. I'll play around with the settings on this razor. Looking forward to that. Wow, really impressed. I mean, it's a heavy beast. Remember that if you're thinking about getting it. It's from our guys in India, shaving fans over there, and started up recently. It is a brass construction razor. The core of it is brass, and then they, as you see on their website, they then coated it with several different layers of coatings. I don't know. I don't think they specified at the time I was looking at it exactly what the layers were, but it's kind of a matte finish. Great grip on the handle. I'm glad, because since it's heavy, you need to have a good secure grip on it. And it comes with a stand when you buy it. It might take a while to get over from, from India. But my goodness, this is a terrific. And here's the version 5 over here. I doubt you could tell a visual difference. You'd have to look at the, fortunately they have serial numbers on the bottom. Now, that area where I did against the grain just now kind of perked up as a little tiny bit of irritation. So yeah, it's so smooth that I was actually able to generate irritation even though I didn't feel it at the time. So and that's good, because I get that. I can still get a great close shave while having it be comfortable. I just need to remember, don't get too crazy with it. It is still, and see, that's what I'm saying, and having trouble doing so. It's efficient, but you just don't. It doesn't feel efficient. You don't feel that blade very much, but it's doing a great job of cutting. I just have a tremendously close shave here. I'm such a big fan of the Fat Boy, Slim, Black Beauty. Hate to say it, but I definitely recommend the Pearl Flexi over those guys. Now, it is more expensive. But by the time you pay for shipping to come across to America, it's more expensive. Is it twice as good? It really might be. It's much smoother. But if you like blade feel, then maybe, and you're interested in an adjustable like this with the dial and the numbers you can choose on the fly, then maybe the Fat Boy and those guys might be a better choice. But this guy locks onto the blade. There just wasn't very much chatter with it. The Platinum worked just as well as the Astra. The water tension there is holding it on. Surface tension, I believe. And there we go. Just a terrific razor. I can't see any need for making any changes to this version right here. I don't know if anybody has reported any issues, but in both shaves that I've had with it, I have taken the blade, just plopped it in. I've not done any kind of special alignment trick or anything, and it's worked great. And there we go. So I am very happy with that purchase. I guess the only weakness I could see that you need to kind of warn somebody about, okay, we'll say there's two, is the weight of it. If you like lighter razors, this is not the one for you. And then the smoothness. If you like blade feel, this is not the one for you. This is a smooth razor. In terms of the closeness of the cut, let's check it out. I mean, I just see tips. I don't see any length on any. I don't see length on any tips. I just see flush cut stubble. And that is a rarity for me, because I can't really go against the grain in a lot of areas on my neck. But it seems like if I wanted to with this razor, I probably could on a regular basis. And that says a lot. Well, I'm fawning all over this thing because it surprised me with how comfortable it was yesterday. And it duplicated the experience again today. This was a low use platinum, and so I imagine it's only got 3 uses on it, at least. I'm going to put another tick on there. And so, wow, if you if I were to keep using this blade, you know, it's going to smooth out even more, you know. So now we got 4 tick marks on it. So a wonderful soap base, an underrated soap base. The Sudsy Soapery doesn't get a lot of notoriety sometimes, but man, I had good customer service with those guys, and this tallow base. I think I may be unimpressed a little bit with the vegan soap base, if my memory is serving me, but I'm definitely going to look over their tallow offerings and see what they have that I might be interested in, because it's a worthy addition, this beef tallow, to my collection. Definitely, I'm going to enjoy that. So here we are after the shave, and I just spent several minutes over there checking to see what I had that maybe was the beef tallow. I had that top of the morning, but I didn't really like that scent too much. It's supposed to be kind of an Irish Spring type, you know, scent. But my first couple of tries with it just didn't latch on to me, right? And so I'm gonna have to check out their website and see what else there might be in their beef tallow. But so what did we end up using with that 25-second load, which ended up to be plenty? I've got 3 passes down in that bowl there still. 30 milliliters of water. Wow, that's a lot of water and a lot of soap. Yeah, in perfect world, maybe I could back off 30 milliliters, maybe to 27 milliliters, or you know, something like that. And 25 perhaps for this amount of loading. And then I could leave a little bit more moisture on my face between passes, you know. But really, it's great either way. If I hit anywhere near this mark, or slightly drier than this mark in the future, then I'd be very, very happy with that lather. Performance-wise, it was terrific. This razor, if you overly dry your lather, it's got a pretty good contact patch right there, and so it can kind of drag and skip on you just a little bit. But if your lather's good, you're fine. So just terrific with the version 7 of the Pearl Flexi. Nothing but good, positive words about that. Glad to bring you the Sudsy Soapery. And the scent doesn't really linger very much on my face, and so anything I want to put on afterwards is going to be fine. What do I feel like putting on? With the Chypre, you know what I think might be nice with the rose and the green ingredients, the oakmoss, and I bet even with the citrus, Whiskey Woods by Clubman. This is the one Clubman product, the Pinaud product that I do have. I don't really like the original Clubman. So I think the woody and kind of slightly boozy nature here is going to go really well. If anything of the lemon rose Chypre comes through, then it's going to match nicely with this. This is a nice cheap guy off Amazon. Excellent. So similar to the Sterling High Mountain White, it is a knot that gets big, and it's not a big diameter knot, but it's kind of got some built-in splay to it here. It feels very nice when you're just kind of feeling the knot. The tips don't get crispy. You know, if it's been a day or two since you used it, it's going to feel really good. Big knot like that, and you know, it's a little floppy. It might be, if that's your concern, then you shouldn't get it. But if you like those plush brushes and you don't mind if it's a little bit that way, you're probably going to really enjoy it. And Zenith's, I think it's not quite as floppy as like a Kent Silvertip Badger, and this is definitely cheaper than the Kent's, I believe. And the Kent, and actually, I don't like the Kent's handle, and I like this one just a little bit better. So that tells you how much I don't like the Kent's handle. So A nice little, and it's not one of those high density 2-bands, you know, of course it's a 3-band, but it's not one of those high density brushes that it's kind of the trend now. It's the Silvertip 3-band, and so it's got plenty of room inside the knot for the lather, a nice flow through there. It held plenty of lather to get the job done, so I think it'd be a great face lathering brush as well. So I recommend this guy, with a minor reservation about the little lines on the handle, but since they have that handle on a few of their brushes, I gotta think that they haven't really gotten too many complaints like mine. So maybe I am one voice that is not very loud in this case and doesn't matter all that much, perhaps, in this case. All right, well, Sudsy Soapery base was one I wanted to bring to you guys, and it has done me very well for yesterday and today. Very happy with that one. I think, oh yeah, that Whiskey Woods was a wonderful combination. A little bit of that is mixing in with the soap scent. That's really a good match. How about that? I think the Whiskey Woods is probably a good kind of base note to have around, and I think it would be pretty compatible with a whole lot of scents. I really think so. All right, guys. Well, there we go. That's today's shave, and I hope there's been something here that's been really good for you. Did a little bit of talking about the scent and what Shawn's goal for it was with the scent notes and that sort of thing. And I bet there's plenty of guys out there who might really enjoy it. And I definitely enjoyed the performance of that beef tallow base from the soap. And again, I was dazzled with the performance of the Pearl Flexi. I can't wait to try it again. We'll bump it up to a 4, see what happens. See if I can move all the way up to the 6. Who knows? If I can, you know what? Then it is representing the Gibbs razor, the number 17 adjustable. That is the razor that its design was modeled after. And in that same way, if I can use the whole spectrum, then that is mirroring the Gibbs very well, because that Gibbs razor was tremendously smooth, probably a little smoother than the Gibbs, but still, this is really nice here with the Gibbs. I'm sorry, with the Gibbs was a little smoother than the Flexi, but still, the Flexi is very nice. And I can run up the whole spectrum with the Gibbs and enjoy shaves all along that spectrum, instead of like with the Rockwell, me being locked into kind of the 2 or the 3 for my favorite shaves, you know. And some adjustables will do that, where they have a nice Carve has a nice broad range. I can shave from the AA all the way up to the D in the solid bar and get a wonderful, enjoyable shave that whole range. So I like that as well. Very nice shave today. Excellent. Pearl Flexi, wonderful. Take care, guys. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. Good night.